Hey Daisy, come here, pay attention. We need to talk. You've been doing a lot of running off with me lately and rearing, and I want to know what's bugging you.
So, Miss Diane, can we talk? Because, I don't think it's cool at all that they don't let me go into class at the Pasofino Horse Show just because I'm not a purebred. What's up with that? I got a little paso in me and I can prance, but they don't let me in because I'm not purebred. They're calling me mixed breed, and that's just wrong.
Well, that's because the horse shows don't have a Civil Rights Act for horses. You're probably wondering what Civil Rights Act is. Well, what it does is it prevents the discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin in any programs or activities that receive money from the federal government. You see, it used to be about 60 years ago that the two-legged kids, when they went to school, if they weren't the same color as the Caucasian kids here in the United States, then they would be segregated. That means they would get sent to a different school, and maybe that school didn't have the same quality of education. But then there was a court case called Brown versus the Board of Education, and they held that the intentional segregation of students based on race in public schools violates the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. So school officials now are not allowed to segregate children according to race, national origin, or religion.
So, if I went to a regular two-legged school, then they would have to let me in, even though I'm not a full-blood Pasofino?
If you were a two-legged child, then yes, you could go to any school you wanted, regardless of the fact that you're not a purebred Pasofino.
Miss Diane, I was talking to my friend, Secretariat the Third, and he said I can't go to two-legged school, but I want to go to two-legged school. And he said that I can't go to two-legged school because I can't open doors and I can't type on computers. I guess I'm hoofy-capped. Don't they have a place for horses that are hoofy-capped?
Oh, you're talking about the IDEA Act of 2004.
Oh, I have ideas on how to act. We could all just run fast, and we could buck and rear and whinny. I have lots of ideas.
Daisy, quit looking at those cows behind me and pay attention. I need you to think about what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. It's called IDEA. IDEA ensures services to two-legged kids with disabilities, such as early intervention, special education, and other services, and it actually serves more than 6.5 million kids. So that's a pretty huge number of kids. But one of the important parts of IDEA is that an individual educational plan be created for the child and that the child be placed in the least restrictive placement possible. So what that means in an average classroom is if a child is able to function in a normal classroom with maybe a little additional help from the teacher or from a special education aide, that would be the ideal placement for that child. But if a child's behaviors are too disruptive for him to learn and for the classmates to learn, then maybe that child would spend part of the day in a self-contained special ed classroom and the rest of the day in a normal classroom. Daisy, you don't seem very encouraged. Why the long face?
Why the long face? Well, I'm still sad. Because I want to be able to go in the working cow horse shows, and I want to chase cows down the fence and spin them around in a circle in the middle, but the big fancy trainers won't let me in their training program because I'm a mare. They say they only take studs. That's just not fair. I'm fast. What could I do about that?
Oh, because you're a mare and not a stud. You're talking about gender discrimination. In other words, only allowing the boys in and not the girls. Well, lucky for the two-legged kids, the Title IX law was enacted, and that prevents discrimination based on gender or sex. Many people think that Title IX only applies to sports, but in 1972 it was applied to education, and it prohibits the discrimination on the basis of sex for any federally funded education program or activity. It used to be that only boys were encouraged to perform highly in math and science, and because of this, those children were then able to go on to higher professional degrees in engineering, law, and even medicine. Here's a picture of a medical school class back at that time. Currently, with Title IX in action, we're able to encourage all students to perform their best in the areas of their choosing, whether it's science, math, or the arts. Here's a current picture of a medical school at Vanderbilt University, and there's almost an equal number of men and women in that medical school class. So Daisy, we talked about civil rights and about IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and also Title IX. That keeps us teachers pretty busy in the classroom, making sure that all of our students have equal access to high-quality education.